Good afternoon. Please welcome to the stage AmPac Business Capital's founder and president, Hilda Kennedy.
Good afternoon. What another great perspective to see all of you. I'm delighted to be here this afternoon, and thank you for staying. So grateful for that. I'm honored, thank you. I'm honored to introduce you to the Small Business Leader of the Year. This award, only 2 years old, embodies a character that has been described as relentless, dedicated, and compassionate. The recipient of this award, like its inspiration, refuses the status quo, is a mentor and guiding light for many, has a tenacity that is unstoppable, and is firmly committed to a legacy of empowerment and economic self-sufficiency. In fact, I have a personal story that dates way back before I met him. I have a nephew that met this award recipient as a student in the entrepreneurship program at Fresno State University back in 2004 and 2005. When he came to intern with me around 2008, 2009, he was so excited about this gentleman. In fact, he insisted that I needed to meet him. He described him as sharp, down to earth, mature beyond his years, collaborative, and destined to greatness. He said he was community-minded and always looked out for others. So I was looking forward to meeting him. But it wouldn't be until years later that I would be able to verify all that was described about him, and so much more. He is a servant leader. His CDFI delivers coaching, technical assistance, and long-term partnerships to entrepreneurs who have been excluded from traditional financial systems. I think he's in good company. His leadership reflects a deep dedication to uplifting others and creating opportunities where they did not previously exist. He has fostered strong relationships with community-based organizations, public agencies, philanthropic institutions, and private sector partners, creating a collaborative ecosystem that amplifies impact. His shift from traditional lending to a holistic ecosystem-based approach integrates capital, technical assistance, data, and partnerships, creating a forward-looking model to meet the complex needs in today's communities. This visionary leader is respected and influential. He's an advocate for both his organization and the broader CDFI industry. Like this award's inspiration, he consistently elevates the role of community finance and advancing economic equity. He is an active and key statewide leader and national leader, serving as board chair of the California Coalition of Community Investment, or CalCCI. Can we give him a little applause from California? He's the treasurer on the board of Greenlining Institute. Anyone here from Greenlining? Okay, that's okay. I should hear this next one. And he's the board treasurer for the African American Alliance of CDFI CEOs. Can we give him a little love from AAA? I know that today he's going to appreciate this recognition, but he's living for the well done, that good and faithful servant that he will receive for eternity. I am so delighted, and I would ask that you join me in this practice run of good and faithful recognition for my dear friend, a champion for small businesses, an elite human being, my walking partner, and my colleague, Mr. Tate Hill, your OFN Small Business Leader of the Year. Join me.
Well, thank you, OFN family. When I was told that I had a few minutes to speak, as the son of a preacher, I thought I can go from Genesis to Revelations in the time that they've given me. So, in the beginning, well, I won't go that far. I'll stay somewhere in the middle. I am deeply honored to stand here. But to be honest, I was never supposed to be here. Not on this stage, not in this industry, and not even in the rooms that shaped my journey. So how does a little black boy from a neighborhood with the highest rate of concentrated poverty in the country become a CEO of a financial institution that by the end of this year will have deployed more than $80 million to rural and low-income communities? It didn't start with a plan, it started with a fight. I was born on June 8th to two incredible parents, Tate Hill and Carla Hill, and I came into this world needing 2 blood transfusions just to survive. So from day one, I had to learn how to fight. My parents were social entrepreneurs, but that was well before we had that language. My mother created opportunities through childcare. My father turned his gift as a school music teacher into a construction business, helping young men from our community learn the craft. What I learned early was this: talent is everywhere, opportunity is not. And more importantly, people need an ecosystem of care to thrive. So let me ask you, what do you do when you find yourself in places that wasn't designated or designed for you? You push, you pull, you fight, you make a way, because most of my career, I wasn't a fit. So I realized if I wasn't a fit, maybe the system needed to be changed. I wasn't also supposed to be in financial services. I worked at a bank in college, and I knew that was not for me. A well-meaning professor told me there are no financial analysis jobs in Fresno. But what felt like a dead end was actually direction. I found my way into community development, and it was actually where I was supposed to be. From launching a loan fund and conducting technical assistance, and you can blame Rich Mouser right over here for that. He helped me learn how to do lending, to leading the Fresno Metro Black Chamber, building new pathways for contractors, and leading green business certification programs. I learned something that I carry to this day. With community, anything is possible. And along the way, 2 questions shaped my journey. What should exist that doesn't yet? And what is my role in making the world more equitable? These 2 questions led me to Access Plus Capital. Yes, Access Plus Capital. And I realized we couldn't be all that we were meant to be by staying where we were. So we made a bold move. We spun out to become an independent organization, and along the way, we faced some real challenges. Thank you to Sarah from Working Solutions for helping prepare me for some of those challenges. They were financial, governance, compliance, and there were moments where it would have been just easy to step back. But I remember something that my mom taught me and that she lived by. One was, is it against the Constitution? That'll make it real simple. And her other element was, if a man made a rule, a man can change it. And so we didn't just say that, we acted upon it. During the pandemic, we saw something that we couldn't ignore. Small business, especially Black and brown businesses and communities that were low income, needed 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, and we're still being told no. Sometimes, not just by banks, but even within our own systems. At that time, partners like JP Morgan Chase and Wells Fargo were pushing us to go further. So we asked ourselves, what should exist that doesn't yet? And we built something different, a flexible nano loan product, faster, more responsive, more aligned to reality. And what happened next began to change us. We deployed nearly 200 loans with less than a 10% default rate, which proved something to us that was really powerful. The issue was never about potential, it is always about access. We pushed a little further and we asked, how do we democratize access even more? And that led us to Access Link, a platform equipping CDFIs and entrepreneurial support organizations closest to the community to deliver capital using the infrastructure we've built. Today, we have more than 9 partners that are financing businesses in their own community. And know what? We're just getting started there. And where we are now as a movement is we're just at the beginning. This is not a time to acquiesce. This is not a time to shrink. This is a time to stand strong, to build capacity, to strengthen relationships, and go deeper into community, and embrace technology without losing our humanity. Because what we do is not just about capital. It's about transformation. And now we are being called to do something even greater. It's not just about impact, it's about legacy. Legacy means creating ownership, building pathways, ensuring people don't just participate, but help shape the economy itself. So when I stand here today, I don't stand alone. I stand here with my parents, my community, with my Access Plus Capital team, and so many, like Inez Long, Donna Gambrell, Robert Villarreal, Jason Freeman, Linwood Long, Tim Reels, Ron Busby, Richard Mossert, and Hilda Kennedy, and so many of you here in this room. And I stand here knowing this, the same system that once said no to that $5,000 dream, it is now learning to say yes to possibilities. So, I may not have meant to be here, but I realized I was called to be here. And if we answer that call together, there's no limit to what we can build, to who we can reach, and the legacy that we leave behind. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage Seth, Julyan, and panelists.
How about another round of applause for Tate? That was a great speech. Congrats, Tate. All right, we have reached the conclusion of the 13th Small Business Finance Forum. So I am thrilled to be here with everyone. Thank you for sticking around. We know this conversation was standing between you and your flight home. However, if you're going to DC, there's some flights canceled, so we may hang out tonight as well. So I just want to do a little bit of framing for this conversation. So, CDFIs have been around for more than 4 decades, and in that time, CDFIs have really made tremendous impact. And if you look at some of the numbers of just where I think some of the founders of this industry thought of where we could go to where we are now, they would be really amazed with that. So just in OFN's membership, cumulatively, our members have lent more than $111 billion since they have started. It wasn't easy over those 40 years. Over those 40 years, the industry has had to adapt, be creative, change constantly. And really that is some of the historical context of the industry and how we've been able to overcome so many of those obstacles. Like just the creation of the CDFI fund and the fact that we had to create that to navigating different political administrations who don't necessarily agree with some of what we do, continually to change within that. We got through the Great Recession, in some cases, there were better CDFIs because of that. During COVID, we lent $34 billion, and it's just been a defining characteristic of the industry to continue to adapt and change and be creative. And we're in one of those moments again right now where we are gonna have to look back, think, be creative, and change. So that's kind of what this conversation is gonna be about. So we have 3 great panelists here. I'll have them introduce themselves in a second. But we have a kind of a CDFI collaborative model where multiple CDFIs kind of came together to serve veteran entrepreneurs. We have a for-profit loan fund model. They can kind of think differently beyond just the typical nonprofit 501c3 structure. And then we have a shared services model. So we really want to kind of dive into that a little bit and just have a conversation. So I'm going to start with Gustavo. So Gustavo, just share a little bit about yourself, People Fund, but then in depth about Veteran Loan Fund.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you what BLF is about. BLF is about the members. We are 12 members strong. We have 2 associations, trade associations, Appalachian Community Capital that brings more than 20 CDFIs, and African American Alliance of CEOs that bring 80 CDFIs across the country. So we are far more stronger than our numbers say. I'm Gustavo La Sala, President and CEO of People Fund. I lead the Texas member of the Veteran Loan Fund. And as I said, it's about the members. You were asking what BLF does. And let me put it in a nutshell. Veterans are targeted by predatory lending. It's very frequent. And we have to get there first. So one of the things that we do is we run marketing campaigns. Every quarter we run marketing campaigns for different members. And out of the leads that close, right, BLF gets paid by the members to fund the marketing campaign for the next quarter. We have been doing that for 2 years already. Then for those that want to access funds, we do, there's a pecking order there. There's a pecking order. So when a veteran applies, we match that veteran with the closest member. And then if that member, for any reason, cannot serve that veteran, there's another CDFI that can, that veteran is routed to. And then for those that want to access funds from the fund, we do an extensive due diligence, and the Veteran Loan Fund approves, right, a certain amount of capital that is available on a first come, first served basis. We don't promote competition among members because we know that we are providing a subsidized product, and we trust, because we know each other, what we do in our different geographies. So we complement each other with with the products that we offer, we complement each other with the geographies. And then when we have initiatives like the one that is going on right now, the national cohort, the first national cohort of the Veteran Loan Fund, and it's a group of veteran and military spouses that are going through an accelerator. We all pitch and provide part of the curriculum and part of the service that those veterans receive during that activity.
Great, thank you. Derek, tell us a little about yourself and then Texas Mezzanine Fund.
All right, sounds good. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to be on stage, and thank you to everyone who stuck with us today. Appreciate it. Derek Hicks, CEO, Texas Mezzanine Fund, retired and recovering banker. I was in this space for 20 plus years before coming into the CDFI world. And am fortunate enough to be the third CEO of Texas Mezzanine Fund, which is a Texas-only CDFI based out of Dallas. As mentioned, we are for-profit. We focus on small business lending, affordable housing financing, and community facility financing. We're also a new market tax credit community development entity. And through the 27 years that we've been here between direct lending, partnership lending, capital stacking, and our new market program, we've placed just over $1 billion in total impact into the Texas economy. So looking forward to the conversation today.
Yeah,
thank you.
congrats on that.
Thank you.
All right, Carolina, yourself, Cameo, and then the Shared Services Center.
Thank you, Seth, for the invitation. Really great to be here. Carolina Martinez, CEO of Cameo Network. So for those of you that don't know us, thank you. A national association now of over 450 business resource partners providing technical assistance and capital to very small businesses. So we've been around for 34 years. And we've really focused on capacity building, ecosystem building opportunities, and advocacy for our members and the small businesses. And for the past 4 years, we've been working with a shared service model. 3 of those years were a pilot model where we had 5 CDFIs, actually a few of them here, like Working Solutions, Access Plus Capital that we just heard from Tate, were there. And we really were working on figuring out what was the right model to support the CDFIs to be more efficient. And after 3 years of playing around with it and proving different options and models, we open it up for all our membership this year officially. So we provide human resource services, technology, and finance for CDFIs and now business technical assistance organizations as well.
Awesome, thank you. All right, Derek, back to you. So TMF is structured as a for-profit loan fund, but in many ways you operate in a kind of a nonprofit mindset a little bit, in that your dividend returns are pretty modest. You are a CDE. But can you just talk to us a little bit if you feel that there's a tension between being a for-profit and a mission led, or if you don't think there's a tension there, and how you balance that?
One, thank you. We get this question frequently as a for-profit CDFI. We view the for-profit model as a tax designation. That's it. We are mission focused. We are still looking to place affordable capital into undercapitalized communities. So we tell our lenders, our partners, and I'll say this because Victor used to say this, my predecessor, when you invest in us, don't give us your grocery money, right? So we want to make sure that it's not about the return ultimately for those that invest in us, but for those that are looking to participate in our mission and our story. So the way we talk about it is when coming in to the for-profit model, we want you to be a long-term partner, right? You come in as a shareholder, and I view it as a benefit because you're with us to the end. You are a part of our story. We are a part of your story. So I don't see it as a negative at all. Like I said, we look at it as a positive. The constraints potentially is that as we grow, because we are for-profit, we have covenants that look different from the nonprofit model. Like as an example, we are a $58 million total asset shop, 200 million assets under management through new markets. But when we borrow money from our lenders, we have to maintain a 70% net asset ratio. Wow. So that means the maximum amount of debt our organization can hold is roughly 17.4 million on total assets of 58 million. Whereas I've seen a lot of nonprofit organizations that can operate at a 30% or 35% net asset ratio. So it gives a different lens from a financial focus, maintaining financial constraint, if you will, on the organization. But like I said, it's, we don't view it as a detriment at all.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Carolina, so shared services, I think, is an opportunity that the industry really needs to embrace, and just kudos to you guys for taking this on, because it's also a challenge. So, I mean, I think the fundamental thing on the shared services is convincing CDFIs that they don't need to own their own back end. But I think with that, there's just some challenges of allowing CDFIs to let go of control. So I'm just curious how you manage that.
That's a great question, because from CAMI, we started experimenting with shared services over 10 years ago. And the first attempt was with underwriting.
Okay.
And after several rounds and iterations with different technology platforms, we ended up coming to terms with the fact that each CDFI wants to control that piece, because it's really what makes them unique. Is like they're serving a community, they're filling a gap that they see on their community with their clients, and they have trouble sharing that with other CDFIs. Yeah. And as we start playing with that again, like thinking through what could we be offering to streamline operations and be more efficient without taking that away from them, we start realizing that the back office is something that has less control needs, that there's something that could make them more efficient. And yes, we have to recognize several funding challenges obviously help, because if you're thinking about how to direct your funding to operations and to deployment of capital, back office support is usually the first one that suffers. And a lot of our CDFIs were telling us like, oh, we need somebody to think with us about strategically thinking about what technology platforms we want to use, or how do we manage human resources for our teams. So those are common questions that they could actually look for outsource services to do. So we decided to kind of start with that in this pilot, and what we are trying to do really is we're there with you. The fact that you're looking to be more efficient doesn't impact your mission, and we're building that collaborative. Actually, in the pilot, we had a cohort that shared experience, and they were really learning from each other and ended up even using each other's programs and platforms and technology. So that really proved the point that CDFIs are not share-averse. It's just really learning and trusting the other CDFI to figure and who is doing it for them. So they really understand that you are clear about their needs and that you are providing that the services that you commit to.
That's awesome. Thank you. And so speaking of trust, Gustavo, so I've been in the industry for 15 years. As a membership, we have to herd members a lot of ways. You now are kind of in charge of leading a collaborative of CDFIs and lending, and I think historically, CDFIs have kind of not wanted to view each other as, or sometimes view each other as competition. And I'm just curious how you have managed like bringing a group of CDFIs along together, focused on really serving like veteran entrepreneurs. If there's any like insights on that you think are relevant in the industry.
Well, trust is everything, and what we have in the group is a governing board that is selected by the members and includes CEOs of the members. And it's not one organization managing, right? And we all play an important role, but the main discussions happen at the board level, and then we provide full transparency on the finances of the Veteran Loan Fund. So basically, we have a separate set of financials for BLF that is provided to the board of managers of Veteran Loan Fund, and that's how we keep track. That's how we build trust. It's also important, what I mentioned a few minutes ago, that there is a pecking order when we are talking about how do we assign, right, the loans that are coming from the marketing campaigns, right? We don't put a veteran there and 13 organizations calling. That's a bad experience for the veteran. It's a bad experience for the CDFIs that are calling. So we trust that lead goes to the best CDFI that can serve that veteran in the area. Then, of course, comes how we communicate and how we present Veteran Loan Fund at the national level. And we do have, we have made announcements and press releases that are, on that we are draconian, right? So on the national release, on the national stake, there's no CEO appear there. So we have staff members that provide testimony. We share stories of clients that the members have helped, and we have different stories from different areas of the country. And then at the local level, at the geographies that we have assigned to each, then each CDFI customize that message internally. We provide, the Veteran Loan Fund provides a template, right? And then they can copy and paste, provide the testimony of the CEO, the director of lending, the director of technical assistance, a customer, a founder. And that all adds up to, we all are in this together, right? If a member doesn't help a customer in South Carolina, it's hurting the member in Oregon, right? So we keep track, we share a platform, right, that makes easier for our members to report the loans that they have done with the funds that they received from Veteran Loan Fund and with the funds that they have leveraged at the local level. So on that note, Veteran Loan Fund raised $30 million in two funding rounds, and the members leveraged that at the local level to a tune of more than $115 million to date. 1,500 veterans, 8,000 jobs from coast to coast. So this is in 4 years.
So are you looking for other CDFIs to join right now?
Well, we are always open to more members. Most recently, Ascentus from New York joined us. African American Alliance from CDFI CEOs joined us as well. And yes, what we do is we meet, we ensure that there's alignment in our goals. This is not about grants, or it's not about capital. This is about serving those who served. And I want to pause on that. That's our mission.
Yeah.
Serving those who gave to this country so much. That justifies that we are here, right? Talking and thinking how to help others, right? That's our mission. But we all have to chip in. We all have to do something. And I go back to the example of the cohort, right? Every member is doing something different, right? And that's beautiful to see.
Great, thank you. All right, Derek, back to you. So I don't know these exact numbers, but I'm guessing there's less than like 30 for-profit loan funds that are certified.
Right.
But for you, like in this model, like where do you see the for-profit CDFI model going from here? And do you think it's a path that more CDFI should consider?
I'd say it depends. I've met 3 recent founders who've moved into this space, and they are individually mission-driven, and they have a direct desire to personally make impacts. So they chose the for-profit model versus the nonprofit model because they want to retain control through the existence of the entity. So for some, that makes more sense. For organizations that are established and are facing the challenges that we're all facing right now, we're trying to source capital, I think we all have to consider the totality of options on the table, whether or not a for-profit should have some level of nonprofit or foundational arm, whether or not a nonprofit should have some level of for-profit direct lender relationship to try to drive additional access. I think we're at a critical point now that if we don't weigh all the options, we could find ourselves in a position where we're undercapitalized and then trying to find sustainability. So
yeah, I'm curious. So I think on some of your, as you're trying to break doors and like get some new investors in, like how are you leading on a for-profit side? Or are you just leading as like a mission-based lender?
So we lean more on mission. right? So like I said, I tell everybody, it's not about the level of individual return that we're going to pay. Our dividend payment is, typically around 1.25%, if you will, based on the total return, even though the return itself is 7 or 8%, right? So, but the dividend payable, what you actually receive, is a smaller number. So we lean heavily on being a part of the story, being supportive of our mission, and versus, say, giving a donation today and we don't talk to you for another 5 or 10 years, this is an ongoing relationship where you are invested in the success of our mission and what we do for the community, and we are then supportive of creating capital access points and partnerships that could potentially drive CRA consideration for you as an investing bank. So we talk through that and how we can provide solutions for each other and support for each other through the ongoing mission. So that's why I heavily lean when having that conversation. And we are starting to see more consideration today as mission-driven lenders are trying to figure out ways to invest and drive capital in the community given the current constraints of the market.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Carolina, so in the room, I'm sure there's many CDFIs who are kind of just stretched thin on a variety of different ways, operationally, et cetera. So I'm wondering, for those CDFIs in the room who are wondering how they could do more with less, what would you tell them?
Well, I think with shared services, what we're trying to solve right now is that capacity challenge that we've had forever in the industry. And we've heard about limitations in resources forever too. It's not new. It's being more complicated lately and with the uncertainty, but it's always gonna be there because as nonprofits, we always try to prioritize the mission. And it is really hard for CDFIs or for organizations to really be able to hire full functional teams, or sometimes they're not very ready to hire C-level positions that could allow them. So I think what I would say is there exist models and there are a lot of models right now that we can take advantage of, like the shared services, to really leverage that and be more efficient internally, to focus on what we want to do, what is the mission of the organization. So as we see so much uncertainty around as in funding or as we are considering different options and models, like the ones that we are hearing from Gustavo and Derek, it's like, let's be more efficient into what should we be focusing our resources with. If you're stretched thin, let's use those resources where they actually have more impact. And it is in the client-facing work, that's what the CDFIs exist, to support the small businesses on the ground, to really be able to work with them, to help them through acquiring responsible loans. And that back office support that it requires so much capacity, but it sometimes is not as easy to find funding for, is something that could be shared, giving them more like freeing a lot of their resources to really focus on their mission.
And you had mentioned that it's out of the pilot phase now.
Yes, it is.
So talk, where do you want to see this go? What's your hope in 5 years where this is going to be?
My hope would be to have all of the CDFIs here there. But I really think that as we're talking, even as we're talking about mergers and acquisitions so much, I think a shared services model is the first step to get there. It's like really thinking through, as organizations, how to efficiently run our business, which is really what we are, even if we're nonprofit or for-profit. We really need to be thinking about what is our business model and with the end result of serving our communities. But, and I think it's really important for all of us to come together right now and just be open to that. Just have your mindset, shift it a little and say, I don't have to do everything. I could really prioritize my resources where really have more impact in my mission, and I could rely in capable people that understand what we do to provide that back office support.
Awesome. If there's any funders and investors in the room, Carolina has done a great job raising, but always needs more capital, so please reach out to Carolina. So for you, Gustavo, so you mentioned that VLF has eclipsed the 100 million. Where do you want to see VLF going?
So when we started this journey, 4 years ago, the first founder that I reached out said, hey, Gustavo, CFIs are not going to borrow from VLF, and banks are not going to lend it to VLF. And then one of the members said, hey, Gustavo, are you saying that you are going to ask CDFIs to invest in a for-profit. Ask CDFIs invest in a for-profit, and I said, well, not yet, not yet. So we did the first round, Veteran Loan Fund LLC 1. That's a close-ended round, 15 million out of the door in less than 12 months. The second round, again, 15 million, LLC 2, close-ended. And this third round is Veteran Loan Fund Corporation. And we are raising preferred senior debt, subordinate debt, preferred equity, and shareholder equity reserved for CDFIs. So some of those, this is not BLF selling or any organization selling shares. These are each organization that wants to invest into a BLF corporation will have the opportunity to provide capital that stayed in BLF and will be used to fund loans for veterans and military spouses across the country. So where are we going? Well, this is an evergreen fund. So what we set out to do 4 years ago, right, and we said we are going to do it in 4 rounds. We said in 4 years in 4 rounds. We are doing it in 4 years in 3 rounds.
Okay.
And we will continue raising capital, right, on a rolling basis. And our arrival point is to get to a point in which we can deploy $100 million a year, which is the demand that goes unmet from veteran-owned business across the country.
Great, thank you. All right, Derek, for you. So if there is a CDFI practitioner in the room right now, a CDFI leader in the room right now, who's just questioning whether their existing nonprofit model is the right structure for them, or what they're trying to do, what advice would you kind of tell them to think through?
Sure. Like I said, I think we're at a critical point right now where all options have to be on the table as it looks into sourcing capital. So don't shut off the consideration, but think about what it means, right? As I mentioned, one of the things that the for-profit model has forced our organization to do is to have a certain level of focus on profitability while still focusing on mission and creating sustainability. So if it makes sense to derive a for-profit component to your organization that would help you drive self-sustainability in an uncertain capital market, that's not a problem. I think you should run the traps and do the math to see if it makes sense. But I don't think I would ever advise you to lose sight of the mission, because the reason why we're here is to serve underserved communities. So I don't think there ever should be a point where I would recommend for-profit models in an attempt to escape the mission work, because that's the reason why we're in the room. So.
For sure. Thank you all. I think what's most important is just be open-minded and to kind of explore different possibilities. We need to be creative. We need to keep on pushing forward and being able to get out of our own mindset and out of our own way sometimes. And these are just 3 great examples of what's happening in the industry. So last question's a fun question. So this is it. SBFF's a wrap. So what was your highlight? Tell me your highlight of this forum. Yeah.
Well,
besides this session, obviously. Yes.
Well, it's so interesting to see so many people coming together with the same concerns. To me, the highlight was, am I alone in my concerns?
Awesome.
And having been able to talk with people around and feeling that I'm not alone, that was the biggest takeaway this time.
It is. It's important to have that you're in this together. Derek, what about you?
Probably the collective sigh in the room when Tate said he was the son of a preacher and started in the beginning. No,
From the beginning.
No, truly, the collaboration and the energy in the room, right? We're in uncertain times, and so the focus on partnerships, the conversations about how can we do more together, the connections to different service providers and figuring out ways to either integrate or support each other. That has been the overriding positive and benefit for me that I've taken from this conference. I've had great conversations individually about policy and change, but the energy about support and collaboration and doing more in creative ways,
That's great. Thank you, Derek. Carolina, what about you?
Well, actually, I'm going to go in the same direction. I think the conversations have been great, but it's been the direction the conversations are taking that I really have enjoyed. It is a little bit of a shift in the way of doing the same things the same way, and now we're thinking more like, oh, this is our time to figure out how to be more efficient, more creative, and do it together.
Yeah.
And that point is really, it's been a highlight of this.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. A round of applause for everyone, please. You guys can get up there. Yeah, you guys can walk off that way. All right. So this is a wrap. All right, so as we close out our 13th Small Business Finance Forum, I just want to take a moment before everyone heads to the airport. So first, this morning, OFN held the pitch competition from our innovation initiative, CDFI Capital Solutions Accelerator. 3 organizations pitched ideas that would help reduce barriers to flexible, affordable, and long-term funding for the field. So congratulations to the 3 organizations that were in the final round. So Next Street, Ascendus, and Northern Initiatives. So please give a round of applause for that. And a huge congratulations to Northern Initiatives, the winner. So Northern Initiatives won the pitch competition with their Michigan 30 Fund, which is an innovative notes program that aims to attract capital from high net worth individuals and donor advised funds. So congrats to Alyssa and her team, and I see Amanda right there. All right, if you are a speaker at any of our breakout sessions this week, please stand up. So you're all not in the room, but believe it or not, there was 100 of you spread across the 26 sessions. Our events are practitioner-driven. They're by people doing the work, for the people doing the work, and this really does not happen without you, so thank you so much. Please join me in giving a round of applause for our event partners at Linder Global. So please give them a round of applause. So you've seen them all week. They will be in their black gear. They are making sure that everything runs smoothly. Linder has been with OFN for many years, and I cannot say enough about their professionalism and care that they bring to every event. So please make sure you thank them on their way out. OFN staff, please stand. This team is extraordinary. So what you see on stage in the sessions is the visible part. What you do not see is the months of work that go into making 2.5 days feel this seamless. I'm incredibly fortunate to work with all of you each day, so thank you very much. Last things before we go. So 1, we love Austin so much, we're coming back. So save the date for our 14th Small Business Finance Forum. We'll be back in the same hotel, June 23rd to June 25th in 2027. Next week, our annual conference call for sessions is due next week. So please submit your proposal. That timeline is legitimate, 11:59 p.m. On the Pacific Coast time. We literally will get 60% of the proposals by like 11 p.m. that time, so please try to get ahead of it. No, in all sincerity, please submit it. We get great session ideas. It really helps to build the content for the conference. So this year, OFN 42 is coming to New Orleans, October 20th to 23rd. Cannot wait. Hope to see everyone there. So thank you for being here. I hope you're leaving with ideas, connections, and a little bit of energy that makes the work ahead feel more possible. On your way out on the second floor, grab yourself a snack box for the ride to the airport. Travel safe and enjoy a well-earned weekend. Thank you all. See you soon.